Hello, my name is Happy Tavendish and I am an extremely unpleasant man. You're watching Board, Deck and Dice, and today we are looking at Star Wars Risk Black Edition. Now, what you see before you has been blinged out a little bit by myself. I replaced the gold Millennium Falcon with a Micro Machines Millennium Falcon. I replaced the little piddly Executor with the Micro Machines one. You can see where I'm going with this. I replaced this little, really, little lightsaber tokens with Micro Machines figures, but I haven't been able to replace all the tokens. I have these little counters here and the one for the rebel attack on the shield base there. Star Wars Risk is nothing like Risk at all. In it you will play as either the Empire or the Rebels, and you will use either the Empire deck of cards or the Rebel deck of cards. You will take 6 cards in your hand. The Rebels will always go first, and you will play 3 cards down as your orders in front of you. So I might choose this one, and the TIE Fighters. Watch me get the names wrong. So, the one I place down first will be my last order, place them face down like that, and the Rebels will do the same thing. The Rebels will then reveal, and then the Empire will reveal. So, on each card you have 2 or 3 options, and each option affects 1 battlefield. The board is set up into 3 battlefields. You have the shield generator. The Rebels must get their token to the end of this track to knock down the shield on the Death Star. And if they don't, they can't, well, they can attack Death Star for all they want, but the shields are fully operational. I am also employed as a voice actor if anyone would like to pick me up on that. So they need to get down this track. In the middle is the space battle, and what the Emperor are trying to do is destroy all the ships of the Rebel forces, which is easier than it sounds with that fully operational Death Star. And over on this track here we have a couple of things. We have the health for the Destroyer and the Millennium Falcon, and we have the battle between Darth Vader and Luke. If Luke gets down there, he's dead. If Darth Vader gets down to these 3, bottom 3 ones, then he can be turned to the good side, which is a very good option for the Rebels. Anyway, here we have a Death Star attack. So this allows us to roll some dice, and if we get 5 or 6, we can firstly shoot these ship bays, which should be filled up with ships, but I just got a bit bored setting up, if I'm honest, and I thought I'd make it look like we've been playing for a little while. So any ships on this bay and the actual bay itself will get taken away. Once all those are destroyed, the Death Star can target any sector on the board, and on a 5 or a 6, a roll of 5 or 6, every ship in that sector is destroyed. So that's quite powerful. The red lightsaber lets you work on this battle, and everything is actually on the board. It tells you what you need to do. Attack, roll 4d6, which means 6-sided dice, and for every 4+, you get a hit on Luke, and he will move down, so potentially up to 4 at a time. This one gives you the Death Star option again, but also Force Lightning, which just simply takes Luke's health down by 2. Straight away, no arguments, no defence, no rolling dice, takes his defence down by 2. This one has TIE Fighter on, and what you can do with this one is you can move any number of TIE Fighters from one sector to one next to it, or you can spawn 4 more out of the Executor. And this is the only way for the Empire to get more ships on the board, is to spawn from the Executor. We've seen that one. This one lets you put up to 3 Stormtroopers on the Rebel track, the shield track, and for every Rebel that is on a space, the Rebel player must roll 1 number higher than the number on the circle. So it just makes their progress up the Rebel track a lot harder. Other cards, here's a good example because this is a three space one. is obviously moving the executor. You can move the executor up to 2 spaces, and when you move you can also attack, and you attack using, with the executor you roll 4, and depending on what you're shooting in terms of the rebel forces will depend what you need to roll. So for the X-Wings you need to roll 3+, for the B-Wings I think it's 5+, and for the Y-Wings it is 4+. For the Millennium Falcon it is 5+. And everything can move and attack. So once you've moved 2, you can attack 1 in the next base. The Destroyer is a lot stronger than the Millennium Falcon, and you also, but you don't, if you destroy the executor you don't get a bonus unless it's clearing a sector. So as well as your 3 orders, if you clear a sector of ships you get a bonus order which you just take straight off the top without looking at it and place it at the bottom of your set of orders. And there's various other bonuses for destroying Luke. I think you get 4 extra cards. For converting Darth Vader to the rebel side, to the light side, you get 5 extra cards. So that means if the other player hasn't got any extra cards in their go, you're going to have 5 extra choices, extra actions to do with them doing diddly squat while you perform them. So it's a very good bonus to try and convert Darth Vader. The rebel cards are very similar. Let's take a good look at them. You can move the Millennium Falcon, you can use move B-Wings and attack, remember those 2. You can attack with Luke in the fight. You can move the other ships or move up the rebel track, and the way you do that is roll 5 dice and you have to get at least the number on the square, on the circles. So first one's a 2, but these first 3 would actually be 3 because they've got stormtroopers on, and it starts to get harder as you get nearby, so you basically need to roll a 5 or a 6 here, but if there's a stormtrooper on them you have to roll a 6. Once the shields are down you can attack the Death Star with any of your ships, and you just need to roll a 6 to destroy it. So there's the sign for if Darth Vader's down to 3 or 4, so you might want to keep that one in your hand until you're ready to convert him to the good side. And that is pretty much it. Now, let's get on to my thoughts about this. Now this is the Black Edition, so let's talk about that first. It comes in this small, I would have thought, box, and although it's nice and it opens up with all the stuff I had in it, it's not as good a quality box as I thought. I don't know if you can see that on that camera. Some of the sides don't sit in snugly. Just for a Black Edition, when you look at something like on my top 5 games that left a mark, I think it was, where I had Sumo Hogasha, and the production quality on that was fantastic. And this is a Black Edition. It should have been £50. It was half price, and that's why I got it. But I would expect a bit more from that. Having said that, there's a nice foam tray that the board sits in and all the little board parts. There's some random decisions on the kind of like having the 5 tokens is a bit weird when they've done everything else. Going to the trouble of doing these things and making the Millennium Falcon gold, and also some of these bays have already taken a bit of a battering from coming in and out. So nothing major, but let's just say I don't think I would have paid full price for it, as the quality is there in some cases. The board is lovely, the raised bits, the card quality is very good, but in other ways it's not quite there. Having said that, this game is a lot of fun, it's easy to pick up. The instructions weren't the greatest, I had to get some clarifications on Board Game Geek, but once you know your icons, it's really easy to play. It's kind of turn-based. You turn over yours, which you've already decided in advance, but if they've done something unexpected, you're still going to have at least 2 options, if not 3, depending on how you've played your cards, to try and counter what they're doing. So you're trying to work out whether they're focusing on the shields or the space battle, and try to play moves that are going to let you be really flexible to do either of those. I will say, a lot of the times I've played it, the rebels have won, sometimes out of the blue. So the Empire looks as though they're winning, and winning well. You know, there's only a few ships left. They've got the Death Star surrounded by ships, and then the rebels have come in, managed to punch a hole to get next to the Death Star, and then just rolled what could be seen as a lucky 6. Now, when I was the one who did this, or have I done it twice? I can't remember. When I was the one who won with the rebels, I did feel as though I'd kept a reserve fleet of ships back to have more dice, because in space battles you get, apart from these two bigger ships, you get a dice for every ship you have. I did feel I kept a few back for that reason, to kind of be able to punch a hole and have as many dice as I could to roll to get 6 and destroy the Death Star. And thematically speaking, I guess it kind of fits with the plucky rebels scoring an unlikely victory. But I think when it's happened to me, and it was my brother when I did it, I think he was a little bit gutted because he felt like he'd strategically played quite well. And he had, apart from not seeing this little reserve ships that I'd played. So, I don't know, it's hard to say how they could do that differently, really. Yeah, so those would be my complaints. But like I say, the instruction manuals, not the best, but it's okay. The intimidation factor, well, there's lots of different pieces, but you open it up and it's, because it's Star Wars, it's just like, you know, open it up and oh, it's Star Wars, and you kind of think it's more cool than intimidating. And I'm getting more and more familiar with board games. Ultimately, there's just they're all just markers really, and then cards. But it is a lot of fun for all its flaws. For all the reasons not to like it, for the Black Edition not being that deluxe, I have a lot of fun with this game, and it's an easy one to play and bring out. So, yeah, if you like two-player games, if you like Star Wars, you're probably going to have a lot of fun with this. You're probably going to forgive the fact that there is a luck element. Do you need to buy the Black Edition? Well, if you see it cheap enough, you may as well, because if I have quality issues with the Black Edition, there's sure going to be some issues with the Standard Edition. But I would say the only thing you're going to miss out on that you can't get by buying Micro Machines is probably these little Stormtrooper figures, which, yeah, not the greatest anyway. So that is Star Wars Risk Black Edition. I've been Happy Tabendish, an extremely unpleasant man, and you've been watching Board, Deck and Dice, and I've probably rattled on for far too long.